What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective, and I'm here for the news. And today we're going to be going over several clips that have happened over the past several days. In this first clip, we're going to go over a man who shot 4 of his neighbors in Georgia. Man go by the name of Andre Longmire. Now, we know that sometimes when you have neighbors, things can be a little bit contentious. There can be a lot of pettiness. There can be a lot of back and forth. Sometimes you might have a person in the neighborhood who just snaps. Purely crazy. Purely done lost their goddamn mind. But one thing I haven't heard is why this man snapped. Now, is there any good reason to kill and shoot your neighbors? 9 times out of 10, there is not. But we do know that there can be a lot of pettiness with neighbors, especially if they're neighbors for a long time. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that these people deserve to die, should have died, and he shouldn't pay the ultimate price, and which he eventually did pay the ultimate price with his life. But what I'm saying is, why did this happen? That's very important. But let's go over this clip. Well, there's 2 clips on this. I want to go over the first clip, the when he went missing, and then went on the run after killing the 4 neighbors, and then the clip after he was actually found and eventually shot and killed. Let's take a look at the clip.
4-year-old named Andre Longmire. He's wanted for murder. Police say if you see him, not approach him. Less than an hour ago, authorities sharing this image of what they say is the suspect's vehicle, a black GMC Acadia from 2017 with Georgia tag number DHF 756. We have team coverage for you tonight. Coming up, 11 Alive Molly Oak shares how those in the area had to protect themselves in the wake of the shootings. But let's begin where the case sits at this hour. Right here, right now. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles joins us.
I just checked with the U.S. Marshal's office, who was also assisting with that search. The spokesman told me no updates at this time. But after watching a truck full of food pull into the police station, it seems as though officers are in for a long search. A jump scare in the middle of a quiet Saturday morning.
I heard a fly, and I heard that one single shot.
And my question is, like I asked originally, was this random or did these people know each other? That's extremely important because a lot of times in these type of circumstances, situations, these are teachable moments on how to deal with neighbors. I think most people in their lifetime has had neighbors that they didn't like and the neighbors didn't like them. I know I had that when I was in California. I had a neighbor. We did not like each other, but I'm a pretty good neighbor. I tend to stay out of your business, and I try to diffuse things as much as possible. But some of them people make you want to slap the shit out of them, and things can go left. We did have 2 or 3 disagreements that ratcheted up, that almost went all the way left. So I would like to know, like, what was the disagreement? Was it random, or was it actually a neighbor spat that had been going on for a while?
I kind of jumped back.
Frankie Worth says he watched it all from his window, afraid he was going to be next.
I saw my man's arms rise up in the sky. Then he dropped his arms back down, and I thought he was going to take a second shot.
40-year-old Andre Longmire took at least 3 more shots and fled. Hampton police say 3 men and a woman are now dead, and law enforcement has been looking for him since shortly before 11 in the morning, leaving this Dogwood Lakes neighborhood shocked and terrified.
The only thing that had me shook is just how cool and collected he was about the whole thing.
And now thoughts.
This is a sad day in Hampton. It's not normal for us, and as a community we will grieve together.
And prayers.
We're lifting up the families of the victims, oh God, right now in the name of Jesus.
From Hampton Police Chief James Turner and Mayor Ann Tarley. Turner says police are investigating at least 4 crime scenes, and Longmire is wanted for murder. The Sheriff's Office is offering a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. And to the residents who tell me they are afraid inside of their homes, Henry County Sheriff Reginald Scandrett left this message as deputies continue their search.
Unfortunately, doing these type of senseless crimes will set us directly to you, Mr. Longmire. Wherever you are, we will hunt you down in any hole that you may be residing in and bring you to custody. Period.
As this hunt continues, the sheriff says if you see Longmire, call 911. Do not interact with him as he is believed to be armed and dangerous. Live in Hampton, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive.
I've covered a lot of these cases like this when people go on the run for murdering people, and I always listen to the language they use. You know, I don't like to go racial all the time, but sometimes I like to listen to the language they use when it becomes a white man and a black man. And I've called it out too on several different videos of sometimes how they say it when it's a white guy on the run. We're going to find him and such and such. Then when it's a black dude, it's like, we're going to hunt you down. We're going to find you immediately. We're going to make you pay the full. Be like, God damn, which they should. That's across the board. But sometimes I'm just, you know, interested in the language that they use. Let's go to this next clip where eventually he was found, executed. They played judge, jury, and executor on Andre Longmore. Let's take a look at the clip.
The citizens of Hampton County, Henry, Metro Atlanta area, the entire state of Georgia can breathe a little easy. Tonight, the monster is dead.
And as you can see, he's a monster. What he did, was it monstrous? Absolutely. But, you know, sometimes they don't call it like that across the board. I just find it, you know, slightly amusing. But I always say, if the black man is looking for fairness, he won't find it here, you know. This ain't our rest, and this most definitely ain't the place to where we're going to be treated fairly in any way, shape, or form. And this man got what he deserved. You gunning people down in your neighborhood, you know, it is what it is. But like I said, I would love to know why.
Tonight, the suspect in a Hampton mass shooting is dead, killed in a gunfire battle with law enforcement. The mourning for the victims, now identified, begins. In Hampton, the investigation into the murder of 4 people underway. Why did a gunman open fire on a quiet residential street? The search for the suspect was intense. It stretched into the overnight hours, and it ended today with death and injury. Late this afternoon, the trail picked up for the suspect, Andre Longmore. Authorities were able to zero in on a home along Wagon Wheel Court in Jonesboro. That's when they closed in. They found themselves in a shootout. When it ended, Longmore was dead, and 3 law enforcement personnel were hurt. Meanwhile, we've learned more about the 4 people.
When they say 3 law enforcement officers were hurt, I wonder what that means because, you know, that's pretty vague. Were they shot? Did they get hurt by tripping and falling? Like, how did they get hurt? Because sometimes they use those type of words to justify the killing. Like I said, he got what was coming to him. There's no doubt about that. But I'm always extremely interested in the wordplay because it said 3 officers were injured or were hurt. Well, you know, be a little bit more directing so we can understand exactly how they were hurt and what happened.
Who were gunned down, all in their 60s, and lived in a subdivision in Hampton. 15 coverage for you now. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles has information on the victims and the reaction in Hampton. But we begin with Molly.
And the reason why I want to know that, and the reason why I ask those questions, because all these things could be teachable moments. Whether it be spats with neighbors or whether what happened with the officers, it could be a teachable moment for other officers on what to do and what not to do. So it's like you want to know more details, especially when they quote unquote call themselves being open and honest, which, you know, the news rarely is, but, you know, spill the tea.
And this is where it all went down, at a home right down the street behind me. We talked with neighbors and people who were at that house when the shootout ended. In a Clayton County neighborhood, 2 friends planned to start their Sunday with a backyard barbecue.
We opened up the backyard, the door to put the coal into the grill and stuff. A naked guy with a gun came jumping off the cliff and let us in the house.
And what the fuck is this white boy smiling at so goddamn hard? Look, now I'm suspicious of these 2. Are they part? I'm thinking they part of the alphabet community. That's neither here nor there. But, you know, somebody just died in the backyard. Like, well, what the fuck is so goddamn funny? What is the chinning and grinning about? Like, what is fuck he smiling so hard for? But looking at the 2, it looked like they could be more than just buddies. Might be butt buddies. Unbelievable.
In the house and stuff.
Corey Cloud was staying at his friend Justin's place off Wagon Wheel Court.
He was like, I'm a good person. Can you please let me in?
Corey says he immediately shut the door while Justin went to find police to tell them there was a man with a gun crouched down by their back door.
The police charged in there. And we hear all these gunshots.
Justin said,
oh, yeah. Yeah, he most definitely, yeah, he got a little shook in his tank. There's no doubt about that.
as he heard the shots from outside his home. Jimmy Jones says he heard them from his house 1 street over.
I heard at least a good 9 shots go off.
Corey says he heard the shots too.
All you hear is his bullets.
Because he says he was inside the house when it happened.
Right in front of me. I was trying to squeeze behind the sofa.
Corey and Justin say they had no idea who the man was when they got police. After they learned that man was Andre Longmore, the suspect in Saturday's shooting that left 4 people dead in Hampton and injured 2 officers and a deputy in the shootout.
At that point, I was just happy that he didn't shoot.
You see what I mean? What the fuck is this white boy laughing at so much? What the, is he high? What is so goddamn sniggly and giggly? Look at him.
Was Andre Longmore, the suspect.
Or is he looking at him like he's with lust in his eyes? What is going on?
Officers and a deputy in the shootout.
At that point, I was just happy that he didn't shoot first. Right. He didn't, like,
Jumped down. You just stand there chilling. He could have shot all 3 of us right then and there.
Tonight, Corey's thankful they're alive. 2 officers and a deputy were taken.
They shot all them dudes. I've never seen a woman over there, so.
Into a hospital. Henry County Sheriff's Office tells me that they're all expected to be okay.
But, you know, like I said, you know, condolences to the family. I'm not saying none of them people who died deserved it by no stretch of imagination. I ain't saying they did nothing wrong, but if it was something that was going on with disagreement with neighbors, it could always be a teachable moment on how to diffuse situations, how to avoid situations with neighbors. Or if this was just completely random and the dude was whacked out of his mind, you want to know that too. Because if that's the case, was he on psych meds? I always go back to this. Was he on psych meds? Who was his doctors? What was the side effects of the medication? And, you know, all those different questions that you need to be answered so that, therefore, you can actually, you know, educate yourself and teach and then get understanding so these things, maybe you can avoid these situations. But they're always extremely vague. Just like 3 individuals or hurt. Hurt how? Were they shot? What happened? But let's go into this next clip. Ron DeSantis fired several campaign staffers and moved to cut costs. Now, Ron DeSantis is running for the, to be the candidate for the Republican Party for president, and he's running up against Trump. And I've done videos, like 2 or 3 videos on Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump before. And the thing is that Ron DeSantis never stood a snowball's chance in hell against Donald Trump. Now, all the other candidates, he stood a legitimate shot. But with Donald Trump, he can't beat Donald Trump at his game. Because Donald Trump is one of those persons who's like, you know, it's like limbo. How low will you go? Well, Donald Trump will go all the way to the flow. And you're not willing to go all the way to the flow because that's not who you are. You're actually a career politician. So when you're a career politician, you play by the political games and you play by the political standards that has been set up. Donald Trump usually doesn't play by those standards. He's playing by his own set of rules. Therefore, you can't beat him at his own game. It's like trying to out 3-point shoot the Golden State Warriors. That's extremely difficult to do that. But Ron DeSantis is running out of money. It looked like he's running out of time. And he's running out of campaign staffers. Let's take a look at the clip.
The Republican frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, spoke at the Turning Point Action Conference on Saturday, one day after he skipped an evangelical gathering in Iowa, where nearly all of the other GOP candidates made an appearance. NBC's senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haight has more from West Palm Beach, Florida. Garrett, good morning. Hey, Willie, good morning. In 6 months from this morning, we ought to wake up and know who won the Iowa caucus, the first major actual competition in this marathon race in a state where most of these Republican candidates spent at least part of their weekend. But if you look at the polling now, the enthusiasm, the fundraising, it's still clear this is very much Donald Trump's race to lose. Now, the former president speaking last night before conservative activists right here in West Palm Beach, less than 3 miles from Mar-a-Lago, making it a virtual home game. His speech focusing heavily on education and on conservative cultural issues. Several other candidates that will address that cloud today, including Asa Hutchinson and Francis Suarez, but not Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's...
And a lot of these people who are running for the Republican Party for president, they're not actually trying to win this year. They're just getting their names out there, getting their faces out there, getting their agendas out there, and getting practice on running because obviously none of them are going to beat Trump 9 times out of 10. Now, is there a chance? Yes. You never know what can happen. Anything can happen between now and the Iowa caucuses. But A lot of these people are running just to get there, because after this, Trump can't. He's not going to, even if Trump wins, this is it. You know, Trump will never run again. So some of these people just want to get their name out there, to get the energy out there, get some enthusiasm behind them. Maybe they can catch a rhythm and a groove and come in second. And, you know, later on down the line, they can pay dividends of actually being out there and getting, you know, just like getting your feet wet, you know, a little bit.
Weekend campaigning in Iowa following that evangelical summit there on Friday. Mr. Trump's closest challenger has been slipping back in the polls both there and nationally. NBC News has learned that he's now firing some staffers in an effort to cut costs. Never a good sign for a campaign. And really, Mr. Trump continuing his attacks on DeSantis from the stump here in Florida, saying that the Florida governor ought to come back.
And the Republican establishment, Ron DeSantis is actually their type of candidate. He's a career politician. He's a staunch Republican. He believes in their value system and traditions of the Republican Party, especially politically. So the politicians really would love to get all the way behind DeSantis, but the people in the Conservative Party and the Republican Party, they're just not behind him like that. Most of them are behind Donald Trump. So it's a catch-22 for a lot of these Republicans.
Focus on that job instead of dividing the Republican Party. A nasty race up until now and likely a nasty one going forward. Willie?
Without a doubt. Garrett Haken, Florida. Garrett, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for what?
Well, you know, Ron DeSantis is running out of time and out of steam, out of energy. And the worst thing to run out of is money. Let's go on to this next clip. I'm sorry. Biden trips again aboard Air Force One. I mean, Biden is like a 2-year-old who's running around with his shoes untied. He's destined to fall. I've never seen a president with worse balance in the history of mankind than Biden. This is getting ridiculous. He's fell off stationary bikes. He's fell on stage. He's tripped over air. He's tripped on his own shoestrings. He's tripped on his pride. He's tripped over his son's cocaine that got dropped in the White House. He's tripped over every goddamn thing. How this man became president is a modern day miracle. Let's take a look at the clip. So you see he took a little stumble going up the stairs. Hey, listen to me. It's extremely difficult to trip going up the stairs. Well, no, but usually when you know you fail a lot, you make a conscious effort to step a little higher. But he's so old and decrepit at this point, he can't even do that. He can't even do that. Uh-oh. How dare he turn around and wave? The audacity of Biden to turn around and wave after you done tripped again like nobody's seen it. Come on, Joe. You done tripped again and you had the audacity to turn around and wave. Look at it. He couldn't even find his way up to the door. Oh my God, the Democratic Party is an embarrassment. At this point, it's an embarrassment. If you're a Democrat, you ought to just be ashamed of this party at this point. They can't do nothing right. Everything they do at this point is wrong. These people have lost it. That's why they need Donald Trump to be convicted. They need everything they possibly can have go wrong with Trump to go wrong at this point. Because these people have nothing. But, you know, I just wanted to go over that little clip right quick. Joe Biden trips again. Only on Sports Life and Politics TV. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at this. The Gilgo Beach murder victim's phone used to taunt family. And this was a serial killing that happened on the East Coast along Gilgo Beach, close to New York. And a man by the name of Rex Herman has been charged with 3 first-degree murders and 3 second-degree murders. And as you can see in the middle of the screen, these are 4 of the women who they have, for a fact, they feel like they know that he actually killed. Revisiting old clues leads to investigators to big break in Gilgo. Now, they say all of these people were sex workers. There's not a more dangerous job in America than being a sex worker, because you get all the freaks, geeks, weirdos, nut jobs, lunatics, maniacs, and so on and so forth. But let's take a look at the clip.
Tonight, with suspected Long Island serial killer.
And you see this man. Now this is a real monster right here. You see the other black dude? They call him everything under the sun. We're going to hunt you down. We're going to make sure we're going to put your ass such and such. You're a monster and a killer. And he was. No doubt about it. I'm not disputing that. But when it comes to other people, you never know. The wordplay is always a little different.
Rex Huberman behind bars. Investigators pouring over.
They use words like calculated psychopath. He was a clean killer who you would never tell looks like an everyday school teacher, but behind the scenes, he was killing at will. You know, the wordplay just be totally different. Astounding.
Suburban father and architect's life.
I think he was leading.
Suburban father and architect's life.
Certainly a double life. He had a series of burner phones, fictitious email accounts.
Authorities surrounding Huberman Thursday night, arresting him outside his office in Midtown Manhattan, later charging him in the murders of Amber Costello, Melissa Barthélemy, and Megan Waterman. For Waterman's family, some hope.
It's not the end, it's just really the beginning now, because we have to justice out of this.
Authorities say Huberman is also the prime suspect in the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. All 4 women in their 20s, petite and sex workers, according to police. Their bodies found in camouflage burlap in a wooded area of Gilgo Beach in 2010. Detectives turning to advanced technology to help crack this cold case over a decade later, collecting DNA from his pizza crust in a trash can outside Huberman's office that they say matched DNA from hair left on one of the victims.
We are now to a point that you need an extremely small amount of DNA to come up with a DNA profile.
Investigators also saying they are looking into his alleged activity on burner phones and tracking his car, a Chevy Avalanche. Rosemarie Kafka lives around the corner from Huberman in Massapequa Park, Long Island. She says their daughters went to school together.
I would take the kids, trick-or-treating for Halloween, and by the time we got to this block, it was just a bad vibe. So it was always that vibe of something's not right.
Investigators are pulling.
And she said there's always a vibe of something's not right. And a lot of times in a lot of these cases, it'd be way more clues than what they tell you. It's like I looked at they had like a Netflix series on John Wayne Gacy, and the amount of clues was just unbelievable. I mean, the amount of shit that was left, and people went missing, and the stuff that was happening around him, and the people who was calling the police on for them not to know was just baffling. There's just no way a Negro could have got away with a 1% of the shit he was doing. But it is what it is. They did catch this man.
Potential evidence from Huberman's home to see if there's any connection to 6 other murders in the general area. There are some differences in those other cases, but for now, authorities say they are exploring all options. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And he is in jail now. He's facing 6 different counts, 3 first-degree murders, 3 second-degree murders, and they looking at him for more murders. And these people sometimes just kill for decades. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at this clip. Millions of Americans impacted by record heat. Now, I stay here in Las Vegas. It was so hot the other day, it made me damn near physically sick. It was 118 degrees, and I took my fool ass out to a food truck to get some chicken. Now, that was one of the dumbest goddamn things I could have did. I was only out there 16 minutes, but it felt like 2 fucking hours. I had sweat running down my back. I was starting to get a little bit dizzy, and I was guzzling water. But, hey man, if you stay somewhere and you think 105 is hot, 106 is hot, nigga, brother, when you get to that 118, that's another level of heat right there. It's so hot when you first step into it, it doesn't feel as hot as it actually is. It's almost like you stepped into a fantasy. It takes a second for you to realize, like, your body to adjust to what the hell is going on. And buddy, once your body adjusts, let the sweat start pouring, let the confusion start. But let's take a look at the clip. Millions of America impacted by record heat.
This weekend is bringing an intense heat wave to tens and thousands of Americans. Dozens of records could fall into parts of the South and the West. CBS News' Wendy Gillette reports on the highest areas of concern.
From Los Angeles to Phoenix to Las Vegas, an intense heat dome is bringing dangerously high temperatures and humidity.
It's just the heat that it's, probably because we're not used to it.
A juice stand did brisk business near the Las Vegas.
No, brother, I stay here and you just never get used to it. You never get used to it. People think it's some kind of sick gang coming to Vegas. Oh, it's going to be hot, but I can still walk around and drink. Motherfuckers be falling out and shit. You just can't do it, man. It's too dangerous. That type of heat, like we had this past weekend, it was 117, 118 on Saturday, and then we had another 112, 113 day on Sunday. And it's ridiculous, man. And in Phoenix, they've set records of consecutive days of 110 plus degrees. At nighttime, it never dropped below 92. So they're being baked in the Arizona area right now.
Sign. Tourists sweltered while waiting to snap pictures, devising strategies on how to stay cool. The forecasts predict the temperature will hit 117 degrees on Sunday, flirting with record highs.
Probably walk through resorts, take advantage of the shade if you can.
It's even hotter in Death Valley National Park in California, where signs will...
And as you can see, that white man was walking out in there with the... Man, listen to me. People die out there all the time. You see this sign right here? Don't walk before... People still don't walk after 10 a.m. People still do that shit. White people still do that shit. When it was 117 on Saturday, 118, I seen 3 white boys walking up the street with their shirt off. Look, white boys, you don't even have the skin tone to absorb the sun. That shit doesn't do nothing but fry, dye, and lay your ass to the side. So, but, obviously white boys like adventure, and for some reason, walking in extreme temperatures for no reason is one of them.
Warned against walking after 10 a.m. It could rise above 130 degrees this weekend and possibly set a world record for the hottest temperature ever measured on Earth. Further north in Sacramento, the mercury may spike to 110 degrees.
It's been very hot. I feel like I'm a roasted chicken.
Temperature records could also...
Now she's a little chicken.
Europe. In Venice, Italy, umbrellas provided some relief from the searing sun. In northern Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is hospitalized, saying he suffered dehydration after spending a day at the sea with no hat or water.
Wait up. Hold on. I got to go back to that again, you guys. Now, the Prime Minister...
On new meeting. Wendy Gillette.
Wait a minute. The Prime Minister of Israel said he spent the day at the beach with record temperatures, with no hat and no water. If you don't get the fuck out of here with those lies. Now, obviously, his poll numbers are extremely low in Israel. He is not very popular at all. This is obviously a plea for sympathy, but there's no way. Your body ain't gonna let you go without water at the beach and no hat. Yeah, like who goes to the beach and drinks no water? Who believes that? Who believes that? Listen one more time. Listen to this nonsense one more time.
Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is hospitalized, saying he suffered dehydration after spending a day at the sea with no hat or water.
Black people can have it.
He says he feels very good.
Yeah, he feels good about lying. These people will do anything. He was at the hospital because he refused to drink water and wear a hat at the beach. Get the hell out of Dodge.
Others to take precautions. A common refrain around the world this weekend as the dog days of summer take on new meaning. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
If you don't watch it, that white person eat that ice cream too. Right after that dog, you think I'm bullshit. That boy eat that ice cream right after that dog. Ain't no way. I could be wrong. Maybe, you never know. Maybe he would, but it looked like that ice cream was from him and the dog. He didn't have 2 of them, and God knows it was hot enough for one for the dog and one for him. Only in Europe. Let's see. Pennsylvania man says escaped inmate is back in custody. Now, that was a man out in Pennsylvania who's been on the run for 10 days. And he had escaped from prison But they was having trouble finding him. Say he was ex-military, he was a survivalist, and he had been out there for a while. And, you know, eventually when you're on the run, it becomes psychologically fatiguing, physically fatiguing, and just your whole aura is basically shot. You ain't got no energy, you ain't got nothing left to give, and you almost want to be captured. Let's take a look at the clip.
Let's begin this morning with a sigh of relief after the capture of an escaped Pennsylvania inmate who police tracked down after more than a week on the run with the help of a barking dog. George Solis is in Warren County, Pennsylvania, where the manhunt finally ended. George, good morning.
Good morning, Willie. It's a major sigh of relief for the residents here of Warren County after learning that inmate Michael Burham has been captured. Now, that massive manhunt beginning back on July 6th when authorities say Burham used a bedsheet rope to lower himself from the roof of a recreation area. Now, Burham evaded detection relying on military training and survivalist knowledge and was thought to be armed and dangerous, according to authorities. Now, residents here were warned to lock their doors and to be on the lookout, which is exactly what led to his capture, as this video appears to show. Now, after hearing their dog barking, a local couple checked the edge of the property where they found Burham, who was said to be camping. They recognized him immediately. They went back into their home and called police. Burham was back in custody about 2 hours later. Local police saying he finally made a mistake they were hoping for, allowing them to capture him.
It's a great relief. All of us were always concerned that we would end up with a citizen.
And 99.99% chance when you escape from prison in America, they're going to find you. I don't understand where exactly these people are going and where, how long. I mean, you would have been more relaxed in jail, unless he had like a death sentence in jail. You know what I mean? Like, it was other inmates who was gonna kill him, and he knew he was gonna die, and this felt like he was the only way out. But even then, you can go PC. There's other ways out. Like, who wants to escape from prison and be on the run for a few days? Like, what does that do? You only got more time now. Like, I don't understand it.
Harmed in some way, or even one of the officers harmed in one way.
When he was apprehended, he was still wearing his prison pants, only they were inside out. Authorities saying he was tired and worn out. Now,
of course he was tired and worn out. Look at them pants and them boots. Hey, if only them boots can talk. God damn. And them pants look like he ain't. Could you imagine how that motherfucker smell? Lord have mercy. He smelled like 10 days of hell.
Remain in custody and then he'll be transferred, but really, as you might imagine, he will not be brought back to Warren County Jail where he escaped from in the first place. Willie?
All right, some good news this morning. George Solis in Pennsylvania, thank you.
Hey, unbelievable. Now, there was a woman named Carly Russell who went missing. She said she seen a child on the side of the freeway. She pulled over to help the child, and then the woman was on the phone with one of her. Well, she had called 911 for the child. Then she called one of her relatives, and one of her relatives said that she heard a bunch of commotion and the girl was screaming, and then the girl went missing for 48 hours, and the woman vanished, then returned home barefoot. So people are going to be very, very, very interested of her story of exactly what happened. She was in nursing school, so was it any foul play or chicanery on her part? I doubt it. It don't seem like it on face value. It sounds like that maybe police were closing in, or the people who kidnapped her were scared. Who knows what happened? But if she was, she got a hell of a story. Hell of a story. Take a look.
The Alabama woman who vanished after reporting a toddler walking alone on a highway is back home tonight. Police say 25-year-old Carly Russell is now safe after a massive 2-day search. CBS 2's Astrid Martinez has the latest on her whereabouts.
After a desperate 2-day search, 25-year-old Carly Russell is safe. Police say she returned home alone on foot last night.
We got a 911 call came from her residence which is her parents' house, at 9:45, stating that she was home, and of course our folks got over there as quickly as we could.
This morning.
Don't you think for 1 second they not looking into exactly what's going on? You know, they not. I mean, you don't want to blame anything or say, oh, well, she has something on it. But you also have to ask the questions, you know. Do I think she did? No, but, you know, those questions have to be asked because we've seen a lot of chicanery before, people faking and staging things. But I just don't get that from this case. But like I said, I put it out there because you just never know.
Russell's family was outside a hospital in Birmingham where medical professionals evaluated her.
Because they're going to ask those questions.
A close friend of Russell posted on Instagram she was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. He goes on to characterize her disappearance as a kidnapping, adding until she is physically and mentally stable again, she's not able to give any updates on her kidnapper. Shortly after, Russell's mother posted on Facebook thanking God for her return. Police are working to determine where the nursing student has been since Thursday night, when she called 911 and then a relative to report seeing a child alone on the side of the dark highway.
We're sure that she called 911 from the interstate, and we're sure that a few minutes later when the police arrived, she was not there and there wasn't a cop there either.
Russell's car and some of her belongings, including her cell phone and Apple Watch, were found at the scene, but no sign of a child.
Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
And let me say this, that, you know, a lot of times, if you're a woman and you see something from the side of the road at nighttime and you don't have any weapons, you have to protect yourself. Maybe you call and circle, you know what I mean? But getting out your car, in Alabama in the middle of the night by the woods, that is a dangerous game. And what kind of child, what color was the child? Was it a white child, black child, Mexican child, Asian child? Like, give me some more details on this shit. But this lady, if she got out that car, she took a hell of a risk. At night, out the side of the freeway, no, you don't do that. That's a terrible mistake. And this woman, finding this woman alive is a miracle. There's no way I thought they would find her alive when I seen the case, when I seen the news clip the other day. I was like, oh yeah, she's a goner. So that's why I say they're gonna really look into this. Like I said, I believe that she was kidnapped and something happened, but you know, the police are gonna do their due diligence and looking all the way into this case. But that's the last clip of the day, you guys. This has been Sports Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on one hell of a this man escaped and got on the same pants ride.